Installing a main lug sub-panel in a bathroom of an office building can indeed be a code violation. The primary reason stems from restrictions on where panel boards, including sub-panels, are permitted to be located according to electrical codes such as the National Electrical Code, often referred to as the NEC. The NEC outlines specific requirements for the placement of electrical equipment to ensure safety and prevent hazards. One key consideration is the environment in which the electrical equipment is installed. Bathrooms and similar wet locations present an increased risk of electrical shock due to the presence of water and moisture. As a result, electrical codes typically prohibit or severely restrict the installation of panel boards in these areas. The concern is that moisture can compromise the insulation of electrical components within the panel board, leading to short circuits, ground faults, and potentially dangerous electrical shocks. Additionally, the presence of conductive materials like plumbing and metal fixtures in bathrooms further elevates the risk of electrical hazard. Even if the subpanel is fed from the main switchboard in the mechanical room, the location of the subpanel itself within the bathroom is the determining factor for code compliance. The NEC mandates specific clearances and working spaces around electrical equipment to allow for safe operation and maintenance. These clearances ensure that electricians have adequate room to access the equipment for inspections, repairs, and troubleshooting without being exposed to electrical hazards. Bathrooms often have limited space, making it difficult to maintain the required clearances around a panel board. This can create a safety hazard for anyone working on the electrical system. Furthermore, the NEC addresses the protection of electrical equipment from physical damage. Panel boards must be located in areas where they are not susceptible to damage from impact, moisture, or other environmental factors. Bathrooms are prone to moisture and humidity, which can corrode the electrical components within the panel board over time. This corrosion can lead to equipment failure and increase the risk of electrical hazards. In addition to the general restrictions on panel board locations, the NEC may also have specific requirements for the type of panel board that can be installed in certain areas. For example, the NEC may require the use of a panel board that is specifically designed for wet locations or that has additional protection against moisture. These types of panel boards are typically more expensive than standard panel boards, but they provide an added level of safety in damp or wet environments. To determine whether the installation of a main lug sub-panel in a bathroom is a code violation, it is essential to consult the specific requirements of the NEC and any local electrical codes that are in effect. Local codes may be more stringent than the NEC, so it is crucial to comply with all applicable regulations. A qualified electrician can assess the specific situation and determine whether the proposed installation meets the requirements of the electrical code. They can also recommend alternative locations for the sub-panel if necessary. When evaluating the suitability of a location for a panel board, the electrician will consider factors such as the presence of moisture, the availability of working space, and the potential for physical damage. They will also ensure that the panel board is properly grounded and that all electrical connections are made in accordance with the NEC. If the installation of a sub-panel in a bathroom is determined to be a code violation, there are several options for resolving the issue. Firstly, the most straightforward solution is to relocate the sub-panel to a different location that meets the requirements of the electrical code. This may involve running new conduit and wiring to the new location, but it is the safest and most reliable way to ensure compliance with the code. Secondly, if relocation is not feasible, it may be possible to modify the bathroom to make it suitable for a panel board. This could involve improving ventilation to reduce moisture levels or providing additional working space around the proposed panel board location. However, these modifications must be approved by the local electrical inspector before any work is performed. Thirdly, in some cases, it may be possible to use a special type of panel board that is specifically designed for wet locations. These panel boards are typically enclosed in a waterproof or watertight enclosure that protects the electrical components from moisture. However, even with a special panel board, it is still important to ensure that the location meets all of the requirements of the electrical code. It is important to remember that electrical codes are designed to protect people and property from electrical hazard. Compliance with these codes is essential to ensure the safety of everyone who uses the electrical system. Failure to comply with electrical codes can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. In addition to the NEC, there are other organizations that provide guidance on electrical safety. For example, the National Fire Protection Association, often called the NFPA, publishes a wide range of codes and standards related to fire safety, including NFPA 70E, which addresses electrical safety in the workplace. NFPA 70E provides guidance on how to protect workers from electrical hazards such as shock, arc flash, and arc blast. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, referred to as OSHA, also has regulations related to electrical safety. OSHA requires employers to provide a safe workplace for their employees, and this includes protecting them from electrical hazards. OSHA regulations cover a wide range of topics, including electrical wiring methods, grounding, and the use of personal protective equipment. When working with electrical systems, it is always important to follow safe work practices. This includes de-energizing the circuit before working on it, using insulated tools, and wearing appropriate personal protective equipment. It is also important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with electricity and to take steps to mitigate those hazards. Electricity can be a dangerous force, but by following safe work practices and complying with electrical codes, it is possible to work with electricity safely. Electrical panels are typically located in readily accessible locations, but not in bathrooms, to allow for easy access during maintenance or emergencies. Placing them in bathrooms introduces moisture and space constraints, violating safety standards. Always consult with a licensed electrician to ensure compliance with all local and national electrical codes before installing any electrical equipment, especially panel boards or sub-panels, in potentially hazardous environments like bathrooms. The National Electrical Code Section 240.24 E states that overcurrent devices shall not be located in bathrooms. This directly prohibits the placement of panel boards, which house overcurrent devices like circuit breakers, in bathroom areas. The intent is to minimize exposure to moisture and the potential for electrical shock in such damp environments. The location requirements for electrical equipment are detailed within Article 110.26 of the NEC, emphasizing adequate working space around electrical panels. This includes sufficient headroom, depth, and width to ensure safe access in operation. Bathrooms often lack the necessary space to meet these requirements, further supporting the prohibition of panelboard installations. Section 312.2 of the NEC deals with cabinets, cutout boxes, and meter socket enclosures, indicating that these should be suitable for the environment they are installed in. Given the humid nature of bathrooms, standard electrical enclosures might not provide adequate protection against corrosion and moisture ingress, potentially leading to unsafe conditions. Regarding grounding and bonding, which are critical for electrical safety, Article 250 of the NEC mandates proper grounding and bonding of electrical systems to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Bathrooms, with their increased risk of moisture, demand stringent grounding and bonding practices, which might be difficult to achieve or maintain with a panelboard located directly within the space. Considering the specific requirements, any potential sub-panel installation needs careful evaluation against several NEC sections, including 240.24 E, 110.26, 312.2, and Article 250 to ensure compliance. Always prioritize safety and adherence to electrical codes to prevent hazards associated with electrical installations, particularly in sensitive environments like bathrooms. Remember that local amendments to the NEC can further restrict or clarify installation practices, so consulting local electrical inspectors and licensed electricians is crucial for safe and compliant electrical work. In practical applications, consider alternative locations for the sub-panel that are dry, accessible, and compliant with all applicable codes. Mechanical rooms, hallways, or other utility spaces are often more suitable locations. If a bathroom absolutely requires a dedicated circuit, consider running the circuit from a compliant panelboard location outside the bathroom instead of attempting to install a panelboard directly within the bathroom environment. It is always better to err on the side of caution and prioritize safety over convenience when dealing with electrical systems. When selecting a location for a sub-panel, consider the long-term maintenance and accessibility of the equipment. Ensure that the location is free from obstructions and that there is adequate lighting for working on the panel board. Also, consider the potential for future expansion or modifications to the electrical system. Choose a location that can accommodate additional circuits or equipment if necessary. Regular inspections and maintenance of electrical panels are essential for ensuring their continued safe operation. During these inspections, look for signs of corrosion, damage, or loose connections. Address any issues promptly to prevent potential electrical hazards. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, always hire a licensed electrician to do the job. Electricity is a dangerous force, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from electrical hazards. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following safe work practices and complying with electrical codes, we can all help to prevent electrical accidents and injuries. Always remember to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector if you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety. They can provide you with the information and guidance you need to ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant. Prioritize safety and adhere to all applicable electrical codes to protect yourself, your family, and your property from electrical hazards. The electrical safety is an ongoing process, and it is important to stay informed about the latest codes and best practices. By doing so, you can help to create a safer environment for everyone.